You think that $10,000 for a motorcycle is all you'll pay? Think again. From surprise freight charges to $1,000 paperwork fees, dealerships are hiding major costs in plain sight. If you want to avoid getting burned, here are 9 hidden expenses that'll blow your motorcycle budget wide open. 9. Setup and freight fees. When you walk into a dealership and see a motorcycle listed for, say, $9,499, it's easy to assume that's the price you'll pay. But once you sit down to sign papers, 2 mysterious charges often appear: freight and setup fees. These can quietly add anywhere from $400 to over $1,200 to the total cost, and most buyers don't see it coming. Freight covers the cost of shipping the bike from the factory to the dealership. That cost varies depending on the brand and country of origin. Harley shipped from within the US will typically cost less than a Ducati coming from Italy. Setup, often labeled as dealer prep, includes unpacking the crated motorcycle, installing mirrors, adding fluids, connecting the battery, and inspecting the bike to ensure it's road ready. Here's where it gets murky. Some dealerships are reimbursed by the manufacturer for these prep tasks, yet still charge customers the full fee. That's why it's crucial to ask for the out-the-door price early in the conversation. That number should include everything and give you a clear sense of what you're actually paying. Before we continue, if you want to stay up to date with the recent happenings in the motorcycle industry, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. 8. Documentation fees. Documentation fees, or doc fees as they're often called, sound harmless, just a charge to process paperwork, right? But in reality, they're one of the most consistent ways dealerships sneak extra money into the final bill. These fees are meant to cover the administrative work of filing the title, processing the registration, and handling other back-end tasks. The catch? They're often wildly inflated. In some states, a doc fee might be $75 or less, while in others, particularly in places like Florida, California, or Texas, it can shoot past $500 or even approach $1,000. And unlike taxes or DMV fees, this money often goes straight into the dealership's pocket. What makes it especially frustrating is how dealerships present it as mandatory. You'll hear phrases like required by law, even though that usually only applies to a small portion of the fee, if any. The rest is pure markup. If you can't negotiate the doc fee itself, your best bet is to negotiate the price of the motorcycle to offset it. 7. Taxes and registration. One of the biggest shocks for first-time motorcycle buyers is realizing the price they budgeted doesn't include the state's cut. Let's say you plan to spend $10,000 on a new bike. In many places, that number can balloon by $700 to $1,500 once you factor in taxes and registration fees. Sales tax varies dramatically depending on your state, and sometimes even your country. Places like Oregon or New Hampshire have no sales tax at all, while other areas like parts of California can push the total rate past 10%. And don't think you'll only be taxed on the base price. The tax applies to the full purchase price, including accessories and dealer-added extras. Then there are registration and title fees, which cover the cost of legally recording your ownership and issuing license plates. While dealerships often include these charges in the final bill, they don't always explain where each dollar is going. That's why it helps to check your state DMV's fee calculator ahead of time and request a breakdown of these charges before signing anything. 6. Dealer add-ons. One of the most frustrating things about buying a motorcycle from a dealership is discovering that the bike you're looking at already has extras installed, and you're expected to pay for them. These dealer add-ons can include anything from alarm systems and GPS trackers to upgraded seats, frame sliders, or even extended warranties. While some of these might be valuable depending on your needs, many are there for one reason: profit. The real kicker is that these add-ons are often pre-installed before the bike even hits the showroom floor, so you're not given a choice. You might see a bike listed online at $9,299, but when you show up, the only model in stock has $1,500 worth of accessories already bolted on. And when you say you didn't ask for any of it, you'll likely hear, "That's how we equip all our bikes." In many cases, the markup on these items is outrageous, sometimes 2 or 3 times what you'd pay if you bought and installed them yourself. To avoid being caught off guard, it's important to ask the dealer if the advertised price includes any dealer-installed options. After that, you can decide if you still want to make the purchase. 5. Interest rates and financing traps. Financing a motorcycle through a dealership might seem convenient, but it's one of the most overlooked ways buyers end up spending thousands more than they expected. The interest rates offered by dealers are rarely the most competitive. They often work with specific lenders that provide kickbacks or incentives to the dealership. What that means for you is a higher rate than you can get through a credit union or your own bank. Worse, dealerships may quote monthly payments rather than focusing on the total cost of the loan. So a buyer might think, I can afford $175 a month, without realizing that the loan term is stretched out to 6 or 7 years at a steep interest rate. That's how a $12,000 bike turns into a $16,000 bill by the end of the loan. Some financing deals may also include hidden fees, such as loan origination charges or early repayment penalties. It's easy to focus on the excitement of taking a new bike home, but unless you take time to read the loan terms carefully and shop around for better rates, you could end up locked into a deal that bleeds your wallet for years. 4. Insurance costs. Insurance is often an afterthought when buying a motorcycle, but for many riders, especially first-time owners, it becomes a monthly surprise that quickly adds up. Premiums vary wildly based on your age, riding experience, credit score, location, and the type of bike you're buying. Sports bikes and high-displacement models typically carry much higher premiums than cruisers or commuter bikes. A 23-year-old buying a 1000cc Supersport might be looking at $200 or more per month, while a 40-year-old rider on a mid-range cruiser could pay less than half that. But here's what dealerships won't tell you. Just because you can afford the bike doesn't mean you can afford to insure it. And unlike a car, where basic liability might get you by, many lenders require full coverage, especially if you're financing. That includes comprehensive and collision, which raises the cost even further. Some buyers get a nasty surprise when they go to insure their new ride and find out they can't get coverage at all, either because of their driving history or because the model is considered too risky. Before you sign anything, it's smart to get insurance quotes in advance. Reach out to multiple providers and be specific about the make and model you're considering. That way, you're not caught off guard by a monthly bill that's higher than your loan payment. 3. Gear and safety equipment. If you're new to motorcycles, it's easy to think the cost ends once you ride off the lot. But unlike a car, you can't just hop on a bike in jeans and a t-shirt. Not if you value your skin anyway. Proper riding gear isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. At minimum, you'll need a DOT-approved helmet, a riding jacket with armor, gloves, and boots that cover your ankles. For many, a good set of gear easily adds $500 to $1,000 to the total cost, and that's before you even consider weather-specific items like rain gear or cold weather linens. Some dealerships may try to upsell you on their branded gear, which often comes at a premium. And while bundling it into your financing might sound appealing, that just means you're paying interest on your jacket and gloves. Smart riders shop around, compare brands, and buy only what they truly need. But the point remains, without factoring in the cost of safety gear, you're underestimating what it takes to get on the road safely and legally. 2. Maintenance and wear items. Even if you're buying brand new, motorcycles are machines that require consistent maintenance, and they're not always cheap to keep running. Oil changes come more frequently than with cars, chain maintenance is a regular chore, and tires wear out faster than you'd expect. A rear tire on a sport bike might last 3,000 to 5,000 miles, and replacements, especially for high-performance rubber, can easily run $200 or more, not including installation. Then, there's the scheduled maintenance, like valve adjustments, which can cost several $100s depending on the bike, and whether it's a DIY job or one for the shop. Don't forget batteries, brake pads, and fluids, all recurring expenses that add up over time. If you don't have a garage or tools, even basic tasks like oil changes might mean a trip to the dealership or local mechanic, each visit taking a bite out of your wallet. While dealers love to focus on the glamour of owning a bike, few will bring up the true cost of upkeep, especially if you're buying a performance-oriented model or one with a complex engine design. 1. Depreciation and resale surprises. Dealers are happy to talk about power, performance, and prestige, but they rarely mention what happens when the honeymoon ends and you decide to sell or trade in your bike. Just like with cars, depreciation hits hard the moment you ride your motorcycle off the lot. In some cases, especially with popular beginner bikes or limited editions, resale values hold up reasonably well. But for most bikes, especially new ones bought at full price, you can expect to lose 15% to 25% of the value within the first year alone. Trade-in offers are notoriously low, and private sales, while potentially more profitable, take time, effort, and a bit of risk. Adding insult to injury, any accessories or upgrades you've poured money into rarely increase resale value. In fact, they can even hurt it if the next buyer doesn't like your taste in mods. Depreciation is especially painful if you finance the bike and are still paying it off when you decide to move on. In those cases, you might owe more on the loan than the bike is worth. It's not the kind of thing dealers are eager to warn you about, but it's a financial reality every buyer should consider. One thing you should know is that owning a bike costs more than the marked price, so always budget higher so you're not met with an unpleasant surprise. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more motorcycle videos.